Fed's not aware of anything. That's how they get the job. They don't care about you and me. They want to keep their job, and the way they think they keep their job is give everybody a lot of money and keep interest rates low. It has often worked, and that's what they're doing now. I have no idea what they're thinking. I know that they think they know everything and they have all power and can keep things under control. I know that has rarely happened in American history or in any central bank history, but they think that's where we are. I mean, that would be wonderful. I hope so, but I guess maybe a little older or more experienced, I know we haven't had an economic problem or a big stock market problem in the longest in American history. They will say, you see, we know what we're doing. We've solved the problem. Janet Helen has 2 Ivy League degrees. Maybe she's smarter than all the rest of us. Maybe everything is okay now. I'm skeptical. I am waiting to sell short. I am not waiting to buy. America has gone the longest in American history without a recession, without a stock market problem. So history would say we're getting closer to a problem. So either we have solved our problems and Washington knows, don't worry, it'll never happen again, or we're getting very close. Well, I suspect he's floating it because it's an attractive idea and he's trying to get votes, and it might help him and it might help him get elected. Then what's he going to do? If he gets rid of the income tax, which everybody would love, he's got to pay the bill somehow. And that's the next question. I don't know if Mr. Trump realizes he'd have to pay the bills if he didn't have income tax. But if he can pull it off, yes, it'll be wonderful. But at the same time, somebody would have to cut spending in a gigantic way, which would certainly be good for America if we could do it. But it certainly leads to lots of ramifications. Cutting taxes, getting rid of taxes, then cutting spending. It'd be fabulous. But how are we going to pay the bills? We use a lot of electricity in Washington. Somebody's got to pay for that electricity. I don't see any way that the U.S. can ever pay its debt, much less whittle it down. I have 2 children who are, teenagers basically. They're going to have gigantic problems in their lifetime because America has such huge debt. 100 years ago, Britain was the richest, most powerful country in the world. 50 years later, they were bankrupt because the debt kept going higher and higher. They kept spending money, and that's not a typo. Britain went from being the richest country in the world to 50 years later bankrupt, couldn't pay the bills. IMF had to give them special loans. So, I look out the window. How can we possibly ever pay the debt? Washington says it over and over again. The media repeats it. And most people in their lifetime never conceived that something bad could have happened in America. It's just a foreign thought. It's something that people could not even think about. And if you brought it up, they'd say, go away, leave us alone. We're America. It's different. We're the largest debtor in the history of the world. That's what's different. Debts are so staggeringly high. I know that there are banks out there. The U.S. has a couple of thousand banks. They can't all be sound and solvent with nobody making mistakes. The debt is over $40 trillion. And that's just happened this year. So, of course, we're going to have banking problems, which is going to lead to more currency problems. Currency problems are going to lead to investment market problems, bond problems, stock problems. It has to be the worst in my lifetime. And in 2008, the Chinese came along and bailed us all out. Even China has a lot of debt now. So who's going to bail out China? There's nobody left. North Korea? I doubt it. There's more than one way to default. Well, not this year, not anytime soon. But there's more than one way to default. You can just print more money and pay your bills, and then you don't default. And everybody keeps going along like there's nothing happening and everything is fine. The currency can become worth less and less and less, and they hand you more and more of it. You think you're okay, but you and your wife or your husband realize this is a problem. There was no logic to the BRICS other than some guy at a brokerage firm saw a big map on the wall one day and says, look at those big countries. Let's call them BRICS and make a name for ourselves. That's all that happened. There is no logic except they're big countries and they have big economies. But that does not mean they cannot try, and they will try. Many people are trying now because these numbers are staggering. We, America, cannot pay our bills someday. And somebody is starting to worry about it besides just me. And when that happens, it's going to be a huge financial, economic problem. We may have the worst bear market. We probably will have the worst bear market of my lifetime because the debt is so high. You remember 2008, there was a big problem. Since 2008, the debt has skyrocketed everywhere. So the next bear market has to be very serious. And nobody's doing anything about it, except that they will print more money. But that's not going to solve the problem. That makes it worse. And to your question, then that makes people look more and more, okay, we got to have another currency. What do we find to compete with the U.S. dollar? And that causes more economic turmoil. If the BRICS come into you and say, okay, this is the new currency and you should use it, many people are going to say, wait a minute, what is it? Will it work? How's it going to work? Many people will have questions, and that's why these things are so complicated and hard to do. Silver is down 40% from its all-time high or something. Gold is making all-time highs. I own both. I'm not selling either. If I were buying one today, I would buy more silver just because it's cheaper. The all-time high in silver is $50 an ounce. It's selling at, 32 or something now, so it's down dramatically from its all-time high. Gold is making all-time highs. Traditionally in markets, when the retail people show up, whatever the market, that's when you start getting worried. And the fact that they're not jumping in right now says to me that maybe I better buy some more silver. I should hang up and go buy some more silver now. This is not spreading yet. This move in gold and silver and precious metals says to me we should buy more. There will be a time when you will look out the window and all the shops will be mobbed with people buying more silver and more gold. I have never bought nor sold short Bitcoin. I don't see any logical reason for it. It seems to be a very good trading vehicle, and a lot of people have traded and made a lot of money. Many cryptocurrencies have gone bankrupt and disappeared, as you know, but crypto is still there. But I don't see any logical reason that Bitcoin exists, so I'm not involved. Now, maybe someday I'll be smart enough to get involved, but so far I'm doing nothing except watching. I would urge people to learn about being defensive. If that means having a lot of cash, that's fine. But even if you have cash, you've got to have the right cash. Is it U.S. dollars? Is it Mexican peso? What is it? I own U.S. dollars at the moment. My plan being that if and when the big rally comes in the U.S. dollar, because people are looking for a safe haven, I hope I'm smart enough to sell my U.S. dollars. I don't think that I'm going to put my whole net worth in silver and gold, because then it's going to be a little complicated when I have to go buy some bread or something. I certainly own silver and gold, and I certainly will own more. But I don't see that yet as a replacement or a competitor to the U.S. dollar. I don't know what the new competitor is going to be. Maybe, the gold bulls say they're going to use gold again. It's going to be a gold standard. Maybe. I'm skeptical. There are many problems with the gold standard. Have been anyway. We use a confiscation in the U.S., I presume. Not anytime soon. I just think there would be too gigantic a scream and holler, and it would be difficult because everybody would hide their gold and silver under the bed. So I think it would be an extreme logistical nightmare and a political nightmare. In the 30s, gold was money, and so it was easier to say something like that. But gold is not money now. So if they just confiscate your gold, they're essentially stealing from you. Then in the 30s, Roosevelt said, look, we have to reform the financial system, the monetary system, and gold is the money, so we have to change that. There's no logical explanation now that I know of why they would confiscate your gold and silver. If they do, put more under the bed. I have learned if people are interested in something, they're very good students. But if you tell them to go and read a lot about wheat, and they don't care about wheat, they're not going to learn, they're not going to be enthusiastic, it's going to be a waste of their time and yours. So I would urge people to figure out what you like, and if you're interested in money or if you're interested in silver, read up on it, and maybe it would lead you to buy some. But maybe you'll say, I don't care about this stuff, I care about wheat, and you'll become a farmer, and you'll be very rich in the next generation or two. If people say to you, who cares about silver? Buy more, read more.